to da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah! John's not here today. That's okay. Because when we get into these dude and dudette, doc, daily digital devotional, it's going to be mainly just like some one-on-one time with the teachers, with the leaders. So, introductions, context, stuff like that, we'll have me and John. But let's get right into it. Before we get right into it, however, I want to address a question I asked on the last video. Here's a clip. What is so significant about the book of Ruth? What, or should I say who? This is a question you have to fill in the comments. Who, or reference to who, is absent from the book of Ruth? Okay, so the question I asked, I got confused. In my humility, I got confused and I got things twisted around. I got Ruth and Esther twisted around. The answer to the question is God. However, I got Ruth and Esther confused. God is not mentioned in the book of Esther. He's clearly mentioned in the book of Ruth multiple times. Now, what I initially thought was, well, I'll just go back to the previous video and I'll cut that and edit it and then repost it, re-upload it, so I won't have to deal with that. No, I'm going to deal with it like this. I made a mistake, said something wrong, got it confused. I'm a human. That happens. I make mistakes. Not an excuse, well, I'm a human, I just make mistakes or whatever. No, I'm sorry. I apologize. Because I'm teaching you guys, leading you guys. Teaching myself through my own study. And asking God for wisdom. So, in asking God for wisdom, I apologize to you guys for getting Esther and Ruth confused. God is mentioned in the book of Ruth. God is not mentioned in Esther. And even more so, even though he's not mentioned directly in Esther, we still know that these words are God-breathed, 2 Timothy 3:16. So, we'll get into that study if we come across it in our quiet times. So, I apologize. Moving on. So, this is going to be Sunday. This is the devotional for Sunday, week 1, Ruth 1 through 14. 2 questions we're going to cover. What is the writer saying? How can I apply this in my life? Let's read Ruth 1 through 14. I am reading from the NASB, New American Standard Bible. So, reading from the NASB, that's all we call it. And let's begin in Ruth, chapter 1, verses 1 to 14. Now it came about in the days when the judges governed, okay, so this is during the time of Judges, that there was a famine in the land. And a certain man of Bethlehem in Judah went to sojourn in the land of Moab with his wife and 2 sons. Okay, so there's a famine in the land, and he left. Famine in the land of what? This is talking about the days when the judges governed. The judges governed where? Who? Israelites? Judah? Israel? The chosen people in the promised land. So, a man left that area. The name of the man was Elimelech, and the name of his wife Naomi, and the names of his 2 sons were Mahlon and Chilion, Ephrathites of land of Moab, and remained there. Then Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left with her 2 sons. They took for themselves Moabite women as wives. The name of the one was Orpah, and the name of the other Ruth, and they lived there about 10 years. Then both Mahlon and Chilion also died. And the woman was bereft of her 2 children and her husband. Then she arose with her daughters-in-law that she might return from the land of Moab, for she had heard in the land of Moab that the Lord had visited his people in giving them food. So she departed from the place where she was, and her 2 daughters-in-law with her. And they went on their way to return to the land of Judah. And Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, Go, return each of you to her mother's house. May the Lord deal kindly with you as you have dealt with the dead, and with me. May the Lord grant that you may find rest, each in the house of her husband. Then she kissed them, and they lifted up their voices and wept. And they said to her, No, but we will surely return with you to your people. But Naomi said, Return, my daughters. Why should you go with me? Have I yet sons in my womb, that they may be your husbands? Return, my daughters. Go, for I am too old to have a husband. If I said I have hope, if I should even have a husband tonight and also bear sons, would you therefore wait until they're grown? Would you therefore refrain from marrying? No, my daughters, for it is harder for me than for you, for the hand of the Lord has gone forth against me. And they lifted up their voices and wept again. And Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clung to her. Okay, so what's the writer saying? All right, the writer is saying this. This is what I wrote in my quiet time. Because we leaders, we're going to be doing this with you. We weren't super good about doing it with you last year, but we can't ask you to do anything if we're not doing it. There it is. What's the writer saying? The writer, whoever that may be, remember we don't know who wrote Ruth. A famine was caused in the land, the promised land. And it caused Elimelech to flee. Okay, so there was difficulty in the promised land. Elimelech was like, I ain't about this. And he fled. Settling in Moab, he marries Naomi and fathers 2 sons. Okay? But father and sons die. So Elimelech, Mahlon, and Chilion, the men of this immediate family, they all die. God allows them to die, leaving Naomi and Orpah and Ruth to fend for themselves. Naomi tells the girls to leave. Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, and Ruth clung to her. All right, so how can I apply this to my life? Well, we kind of got to dig more into the context and understand what's really going on here. So let's go back to the text. The men have died. Okay, back then, in this culture, this is, we mentioned in the previous video, this is after 1375 BC and before David's birth in 1040 BC. So this is a long time ago. Okay, so BC is before Christ. AD, we're living in AD right now. We're AD 2020. So you go back 2,020 years to 0, and then you go back farther, roughly 1,200-ish years, and then we have the events of Ruth. Back then, women were not allowed to go out into the workforce, especially in this culture, and provide and sustain without the man, without sons, without husbands, without somebody to provide. They're going to be hurting. They're going to be scrounging for food, trying to find whatever they can do. And they're unprotected. They don't have men to protect them. They don't have a husband. They don't have a father. They don't have sons. They don't have any. It's not like they were all living in big old fancy houses and stuff where we could just lock the doors. So Naomi was saying, well, I need to go back to my people. I need to go back to the land I came from in Judah. However, Orpah and Ruth were Moabites. So Naomi's telling them, I can't do anything more for you. I can't give you any more sons. I'm too old to have kids. Basically, the only thing I could ever possibly give you is husbands. I can't do that anymore. So you need to get away from me and go back to your family in Moab. I'm going to go this way. You need to go this way. I can't do nothing for you. That must be difficult to hear, that somebody would feel that way, to like, I cannot provide anything for you, you need to get away from me, because obviously if I can't do something for you, then you shouldn't have a relationship with me. Sometimes our minds might do that. So like, well, I can't do anything for you, so I don't know why you're my friend, or I can't do anything for you, so I don't know why you like me. It's better just to hold myself off and tell you to go away, because I can't offer you anything. That's not the right way of thinking. How can I apply this in my life? Second question. 2 things. God allows trials and tests to give us the opportunity to act on our faith and obedience. Elimelech, right? Trial came upon Judah, all right? Within the promised land. They're told to stay in the promised land. Elimelech said, nah, I'm out. And he left. Well, are we supposed to just up and leave? When trials and persecutions, are we just supposed to up and leave and say, nah, I'm done with this because this is just too hard? No. We ought to love, to give us the opportunity to act on our own faith and obedience. Our faith in God does not ebb and flow based on trials on earth. It's like, well, if God's being good to me and there's no trials, then I'll believe in him. But as soon as he stops offering me something that would benefit me, Naomi and her sons, then I'm out. I'm out. No, that's not how that works. That's not how any of this works. Faith is purified through trials and tribulations. Second thing I can apply this to my life, we ought to love people more than what they can do for us. That's the emphasis I pulled out of Naomi's situation. She felt like she was unable to offer anything of benefit, and so just send them away, and maybe they might have a better shot away from me. No, that's your daughter-in-law. It's family. Our relationships should go deeper than things that they can offer us in the world. Our relationship should not be solidified on worldly things that they can offer us. Our relationship is our relationship because we have a relationship, and we're grateful for that. If you like people simply because they give you stuff, that's what they call, like, shallow. It's not really a relationship. That's still you-focused. That's still you-centered. We don't have a relationship with God because of all the things that he gives for us. We worship and obey God. We have a relationship with God because Jesus Christ had to die on the cross. That we owed something that we could never pay. And that is the debt to God because of our sin. We have a relationship with him out of gratitude and thankfulness for his grace. So, that is Sunday, week 1. This has been your Do-D.D.D.D.D Doc Daily Digital Devotional. Drop some comments down below. We'll talk more about it. When we meet in person, stuff like that, when we have our youth group, stuff like that. Drop comments below if you have questions, if you have insights. We're here to talk. Remember, this is just a supplement. This is not to take over your quiet time. You're supposed to be doing the studying on your own. And also they have an entire section down here that you should be reading as well. Thanks for joining us on Da-Da-Da-Da-Da-Da. Yeah!